Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Matthew Freer, and today I'll be explaining how to do a certain type of math problem. I can call this video kind of like math. Yeah. Okay, so right now we're going to be doing a certain stats problem. It's based on inferences on two samples, and it's going to be helpful because a lot of us, especially in ASU, we're taking stats right now. We've got to have this final exam and test on this. So let me just explain how to do this real quick. Alright, so the problem I'll be explaining today is this one right here off of the service I used to do my homework on, Alex. So this problem states low fat or low carb. Are low fat diets or low carb diets more effective for weight loss? A sample of 48 subjects went on a low carbohydrate diet for 6 months. At the end of that time, the sample mean weight loss was 2.9 kilograms with a sample standard deviation of 4.46 kilograms. A second sample of 46 subjects went on a low-fat diet. Their sample mean weight loss was 1.5 kilograms with a standard deviation of 3.44 kilograms. Can you conclude that the mean weight loss of subjects having low-carb diets is greater than the mean weight loss of subjects having low-fat diets? Let U1 denote the mean weight loss lost on the low-carb diet, and U2 denote the mean weight lost on the low-fat diet. Use the A equals 0.1 level and the TI-84 plus calculator. Alright, so what you'll need to do is get your TI-84 calculator out, because this is going to help you solve this problem. If you don't have it, good luck, because this is pretty much all you need right here to solve this. So let's go through this step by step. Alright, so the first part right here that we got to answer is stating the appropriate null and alternate hypothesis. Alright, so for the first step, it's a little easier to write this down, so that's exactly what I did. So the first part again is to state the appropriate null and alternate hypothesis. So what you'll want to do is write down H0 and H1. So H0 is the symbol you use to state the null hypothesis, and H1 is the symbol you use to state the alternate hypothesis. Now for the null hypothesis, you always say mean 1 is equal to mean 2. Just write that down for every single problem you use. Now since it is a two sample question, you want to write the population mean symbols right there. So U1 is equal to U2. Now for the alternate hypothesis, it could be one of three. It all depends on what the question is asking. So the three options could be mean 1 differs from mean 2. Mean 1 is greater than mean 2, or mean 1 is less than mean 2. Again, it all depends on what the question is asking. Now let's go back here to the problem. Let's find this. So, alright, so here. Can you conclude that the mean weight loss of subjects having low-carb diets is greater than the mean weight loss of subjects having low-fat diets? So again, U1 is the mean weight loss on the low-carb diet, and U2 denotes the mean weight lost on the low-fat diet. Okay. Now since it is asking if the low-carb diet is greater than the mean weight loss of the low-fat diet, we're going to want to choose mean 1 is greater than mean 2. So write that down again. Actually, I have it set right here. So the null hypothesis would be U1 is equal to U2, or mean 1 is equal to mean 2, and the alternate hypothesis would be mean 1 is greater than mean 2, which makes it a right-tailed test. Alright, the second part that they're going to ask is to compute the p-value and round the answer to 4 decimal places. Alright, so for this you're going to need to take your calculator out in order to solve for the p-value. It's really easy. It's just you have to know where exactly to find the stat function in order to solve it correctly. So first we go to stat. Again, since this is a two sample question, you're going to want to go to stat, go all the way to test, and you see there's a lot of options here. You probably don't know what you're supposed to press. But since it is an inferences on two samples question, you're going to want to press the two sample t-test function, or 4. Alright, and you see here you have the mean, standard deviation, and sample number for the first and second samples. All right, and so the first sample again would be the low carb diet, and the second sample would be the low fat diet. All right, and we can find all of these data points in the problem. So let's go back up here. So again, it all starts right here. So this is for the low carb diet. So a sample of 48 subjects right there. So first we can go all the way down here. Let's get that focused. So 48. Good. That is the sample number. Okay, let's go back. Sample 48 subjects went on a low carbohydrate diet for 6 months. At the end of that time, the sample mean weight loss was 2.9 milligrams. So the mean for the first sample would be 2.9. with a sample standard deviation of 4.46 kilograms. So again, standard deviation 4.46. So we have all the data points for the first sample. Now let's go over here. A second sample of 46 subjects went on a low-fat diet. So let's go back down here, go to N2, put 46 down. Oops, sorry. All right, their sample mean weight loss was 1.5 kilograms. So let's go back down here, 1.5. The standard deviation with a standard deviation of 3.44 kilograms. So put 3.44. And again, since we found out that the alternate hypothesis was greater than, you're going to want to press this one right here. Always leave the pulled one no. The color you don't have to worry about. We're just calculating it. We're not drawing it. So press calculate, and you'll find all of these stat points right here. And again, it asks you to compute the p-value. So all you got to do is just write this answer down, 0.045 and all those numbers. But you're going to want to round to 4 decimal places. So the answer would be 0.0456. All right, for part 3, we're going to want to determine whether or not to reject the null hypothesis. All right, now at the end of the problem, we see you have to use the a equals 0.1 level. Now let's go back to my paper here. So what you're going to want to do, let's have that focus, is use the p-value that we answered in part 2 and the a value. Now the general rule here is that if the p-value is less than a, we reject the null hypothesis. So, and if p is greater than or equal to a, we don't reject the null hypothesis. Now we see here that p equals 0.0456 and a equals 0.1. P is less than 0.1, so we reject the null hypothesis. Let's go back down here. Sorry for my arm. And again, right here, we reject the null hypothesis. All right, so for part 4, we have to state a conclusion. And since we reject the null hypothesis, there is enough evidence to conclude that the mean weight loss of subjects having low-carb diets is greater than the mean weight loss of subjects having low-fat diets. And if we didn't reject the null hypothesis, there would not be enough evidence to conclude this. So those were all the steps to complete the 2 sample statistics problems. My name is Matthew Freer, and hopefully you guys do good on your future stats problems, and hopefully I was able to help. Have a good one.